Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My dear brothers and sisters, Alhamdulillah, we want to let you know that we are visiting the headquarters of CAIR in Dallas. And I have Mr. Faizan Saeed, he's the executive director of CAIR. Inshallah, today we would like to thank CAIR, especially when Al Mu'min Mosque we were establishing it back in 2 years ago. The challenges we faced, there were many challenges that at first we couldn't cope. Of course, we have a lot of challenges when we try to establish Islamic organization here in the United States, like lack of resources, lack of human resources, financial resources, and many other challenges. On top of it, sometimes we face intimidation from neighbors, non-Muslim or other organizations who do not like to support our organizations. Those kind of situations, especially if the Muslim organization is in the remote part of the United States, in states, not like major city, but like in a city, small city, where there are not enough Muslims to support that kind of project, it becomes really stressful for the organizers who are organizing. And sometimes there are no other options for them except to pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the success of those kind of projects. However, we have to keep in mind then that we have an established organization here in the United States, what is CAIR. So I would like to introduce our host. In this case, I'm the guest. So Mr. Faizan Saeed, please introduce yourself for our audience.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to speak with you this evening. My name is Faizan Saeed. I'm the Executive Director for the Council on American Islamic Relations here in the state of Dallas, Texas, in the city of Dallas, Fort Worth, and in Austin. And a little bit about what I do is we defend the civil rights of the American Muslim community against discrimination, bigotry, racism, not only individual Muslims, but our institutions, our masajids, our places of worship, to make sure that all of us, we have equal protection under the law.
Alhamdulillah, that is a blessing for the Muslim living in the United States to know that we have an organization like CAIR who are there to support us. So, Mr. Saeed, I would like to, ask you to recall when, like 2 years ago, I contacted you. I got your contact from one of other, founding member of our organization who was also a CAIR leadership in Connecticut, Dr. Imran Ahmed. He gave me your contact. So 2 years ago, when I contacted you, you probably noticed I was very nervous. Our community members were nervous. Can you reflect, like the help you provided to Al Mu'min Mosque at that time?
So Al Mu'min Islamic Center, like many Islamic centers, a smaller community in Fort Worth, and at that time they basically had purchased a home. They're remodeling it and turning it into an Islamic center, a place of worship, because they live in this area, they pray in that area, their kids go to school in that area, and they're trying to make a religious center for themselves. However, in that area, along with a lot of places across the country, local groups of people who don't like Islam and Muslims, what they do is they try to prevent the construction of Islamic centers. They can't do that legally, so what they do is that they try to use noise ordinances, or they try to use ordinances about the construction of the building to delay the project, to increase expenses, to intimidate the community, so that way the masjid doesn't get built. So when you had contacted me, that's kind of what was going on. You had this neighbor along with maybe an association that they created that was working with the state to try to prevent the construction of this house of worship in the center. And of course, the sad part is that it doesn't only happen to Al Mu'minun Islamic Center, but it happens all across the country. Not only for Islamic Center, but even, believe it or not, for graveyards. Many times when we're trying to establish a cemetery and buy a plot of land where people can be buried, even then you'll have these groups that come in that try to prevent that even from happening. And their whole goal is to deny us our ability to practice our religion properly. And when I got your call, we want to make sure that you understood your rights and that you would be able to build the center and open it on time, so that way the Muslims in that area can worship freely.
Alhamdulillah, that was a very, very good relief for our founding members to learn that when the support, the information you have provided, we were very relieved that whatever comes in our way as an intimidation, it will not stop us. We knew at that time, hey, we have our big brothers out there who can morally support us, psychologically and financially sometimes, support us to complete our project. So that helped us tremendously. And we ignored all those intimidations and we worked diligently with the city regulations and all the laws we are, obeying, and ultimately we got our certificate of occupancy. And I called back, alhamdulillah, and then we start doing the dawah. And same time, some of those neighbors came back and visited our mosque.
MashaAllah, really?
Alhamdulillah, yeah.
Wow.
We were, and I asked them what happened, why so much, frustration when we tried to raise this mosque. They said, oh, we were a little bit fearful that you're going to bring a lot of traffic into our neighborhood. Allahu alam, Allah knows what's in their heart, but we were able to bring them and give them, dawah materials to them. So eventually, situation got a little bit calm, and alhamdulillah, as we are progressing, they see how, quiet we are, even though we have a congregation on Friday a little bit more than the other days, and also we have Ramadan coming in, but we do not bother any of the neighbors, So we did Eid celebration, and even neighbor came and participated in our Eid festivals. They brought in cookies for us. They knew, we know you are Muslim, you celebrate Eid, and here you go, some cookies. So alhamdulillah, that was very good experience for us. Now my second question would be how CAIR helps individuals as well as organizations. So that was a good example as an organizational point of view, the assistance we have received from CAIR. So if you can give a little bit more information, so the Muslims who are living in the remote parts of the United States, many other states, they can take and they can use this resource to continue their next projects, inshallah. How can CAIR help individuals and organizations?
Well, one thing that all Muslims and even anybody living in the United States has to understand, whether you live in a big city or the ruralest part of the country, the law is the law. And in America, not only is Allah on your side, but the law is on your side. You have the right to practice your religion freely. You have the right to go to work and allow yourself to practice your religion. You have the right to build institutions and these things. So first and foremost is education, because what happens a lot of time is that Americans, even racists who don't like Muslims, they understand they can't overcome the law. So they use intimidation factors and tactics to prevent people from worshiping Allah the way they do. If that translates into intimidation or attacks, our office will file lawsuits against individuals, companies, corporations, and even cities. We've sued cities. Sometimes cities have laws in the books when Muslim women get arrested that they take off their hijab. Sometimes individual companies will discriminate against somebody, so we'll take them to court and file lawsuits against them. Alhamdulillah, because the laws in America are very positive, we oftentimes win these laws. Even in the case of the Islamic Center, if the city denied your permit for no reason, we could file a suit against the city in order to make sure that you have the occupancy permit to build, right? We didn't have to do that in your case, but that's something that we also offer. We do that, alhamdulillah, free of charge. Beyond that, though, we also will go to the news and to the media as well. What I mean by that is that sometimes the reason people bully or target our community is because they think they can get away with it. But the moment you go to the news, the moment they see their face plastered on CNN, then they get isolated from the community, they get targeted, and that bad behavior gets corrected. The third area that we do is we also work with government officials. So sometimes the discrimination that happens can be resolved if the mayor or the local official gets involved. We try to facilitate that as well.
Great. These are very important information for everyone to know. So, alhamdulillah, hopefully all the individuals who are listening this talk, they will be benefit from this talk. My last question would be, what should Muslims living in the remote areas of the U.S. should keep in mind when they think about CAIR? Of course, we want to donate. It's a non-profit organization. Anything else you want to remind the people?
Yeah, so our office, and especially CAIR has chapters all across the country, and we're here to make sure that all the Muslims are able to practice our religion freely. And that doesn't matter if you live in rural America or you live in the biggest cities. One of our always piece of advice is education, dawah, and outreach. Unfortunately, sometimes it's not the other people's fault that they're afraid of our community. We can do a lot more to reach out and educate them. In the worst case scenarios where the education doesn't work or you're being targeted or fired from your job, always feel free to contact CAIR for legal representation, because the law of America is the law everywhere and you have the right no matter where you're in the country. The best practice, of course, is first education, being friendly like you were, inviting people for Eid, and doing it on that one-on-one basis, because you'll find allies everywhere, right? But if that doesn't work and it does require a little bit more legal action or government action or formal action, contact CAIR. We do this work free of charge, alhamdulillah. And this is something I just want to let everybody know. Don't take persecution lightly. Speak out and stand up for yourself. And by doing so, you'll get respect for yourself and you'll build a better society for everybody.
Alhamdulillah, that is a great information to know that, wherever we go, even, establishing our prayer is equivalent to jihad. So we want to strive hard for our rights, to establish ourselves wherever we go. And knowing that this country has a freedom of religion, freedom of speech, which is in our side. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you, bless your organization, bless entire Muslim community and this country. God bless you.
Ameen. Jazakallah khair. Thank you so much.
Assalamu
Assalamu
alaikum.
alaikum.